There's only a few hours before darkness sets in and the temperatures are dropping fast. All I have are the items inside this coffee can to survive the night. I'm gonna be making slumgullion stew from homemade survival rations, sleeping in a super shelter, and hopefully not turning into a human popsicle in the process. Okay, so the first order of business is I've got to get a shelter set up really fast. It's getting really windy out here, so let's get the super shelter set up. So I'm looking around for a place to put my shelter for the night, and I found this like log over here that's like really nice backdrop from the wind. I could easily, create a nice debris shelter right there. However, there's this thing hanging above me. This is a widowmaker, and it is about to fall right down. Good gust of wind, and this thing can come and just squish me, so I gotta find a better place. This is a 9 by 12 foot painter's drop cloth. It's only 1 mil thick. And with this wind, it's gonna be really hard to keep it from ripping apart. So we'll see how well this works out. Okay, so now that we have the main part of the shelter up, which is just this 1 mil plastic, we've got to get the reflective back on this. Now this is a super shelter made popular by Morris Kahansky, the father of bushcraft. I've been wanting to make one of these for a long time. Everybody on YouTube seems to be making them now, and they say they're really, really warm inside because the heat from the fire goes through the first part of the shelter and it hits the reflective back that we're gonna put on it, and it just stays in here like a big greenhouse. So that's what I'm hoping for, because it's supposed to get down to like 15 degrees tonight. So one of the items that I have in this kit is this, which is a Mylar poncho. And I know that on the inside of this poncho is a reflective coating. And that is what we're gonna use on the back side of the shelter here. So let's rig it up. I also have a little bit of Gorilla Tape. Now this stuff is so amazing to have in any of your camping kits, just because it's so tough. We'll see if it can handle the high winds we get tonight though. This might all just come flying apart. I don't really have a lot of time to be making and reinforcing this thing, so I've only got one shot at this. Okay, so I have some green pine boughs here, and what you want to do with this is you're making like a spring mattress like you have at home. You want the arch of it to be like this, so when you put your weight on it, it gives a nice cushion. Now I'm just going to shove some of these in the bag, and then I'm going to put some of them on top of the bag. Sleep right on them. This is called a browse bed. I don't know why it's called a browse bed. It just is. The only way you're going to survive a night like tonight is gonna be getting yourself up off the snow and getting a good fire. That's it. That's the only way to do it. You have to insulate yourself from the cold. I just popped a hole with one of these branches in the shelter. I'm gonna have to patch it, otherwise their wind is gonna get in that hole. It's gonna kind of defeat the purpose of the shelter. Now a browse bed like this is only gonna last you like 1 or 2 nights because your body weight's gonna make it kind of like flatten out. Listen, you're not gonna be able to flip this mattress like you would at home, so you have to remake it. I know what you're thinking. Is that gonna be too close to the 1 mil thick plastic shelter? I think about 6 feet away is gonna be good if I keep the fire small. Now you wanna keep the fire small anyway because you don't wanna be tending it all night long. My plan is to get a couple of dry logs and just let them burn lengthwise all night long. Probably what would happen is an ember would hit the plastic and make a big hole, and then air would start to come in. So it's gonna become less and less useful as the night goes on if that's the case. Okay, so in this kit I have potassium permanganate and sugar in this little capsule here. I have an Esbit cube, which I'm going to use to start this wood. It's a little wet. It's been raining here and quite a bit of snow. So I'm going to use the Esbit cube to help as a fire starter. And then in my primary fire starting kit, I have a Bic lighter, and I also have a ferro rod and a steel. So I have 3 different ways to start fire here, which is really a great idea if you're making any sort of a kit. And then I have a little film canister. For all you kids that don't know what film is, it's this magical thing that we used to use to take pictures with. But the film came in these little black tubes. They're awesome, they're waterproof. And I've got dryer lint in here and some char cloth in case I was using a fire steel to start the fire. But since it's freezing and the sun is setting, I'm gonna use the tried and true Bic. Let's get this done. Now I'm just organizing some of the gear that's in my kit, because what I need to do is I need to free up this container so I can boil water. While we're at it, I've got a first aid kit in here, chapstick, I've got a towel, like a compressible towel, some water purification tablets, a little button compass, which is practically useless except to show me general direction. But I like to throw it in there because, you know, it's small. I always put desiccant packets in here, the things that say don't eat. Because they keep the environment dry inside the can. You don't want anything like rusting or corroding. Hand warmers. I've got a pocket saw. These things are useless. These are really, really hard to process. Enough firewood to keep you warm in a situation like this. So I got all my firewood that was just like laying around or I could push trees down with. And I have a little tiny multi-tool. How cute is that, right? So I'm gonna put all of that stuff in one of my water bags so that I can free up this canister. When you're looking for snow to make into water, you don't want to get the snow from somewhere that an animal has been near or whatever, as you can imagine. So I like to get an area that's pretty clean like this, not many trees above me, not much debris falling down. You get the top layer of snow only, don't go all the way to the floor, the ground. Just get the coffee grounds out. Now we gotta go boil some water. The hardest part about boiling snow or getting snow to melt is the very first bit of it. So if you have some water, pour it in the canister first. I don't have any water, so we're just gonna have to wait until it does what it's gonna do. So if you've only got one can, you've got to purify some water, store it in a bag like this, and then you can cook some food in this, and you have 2 different containers then. Man, this is really cozy in here right now. The fire is roaring, and I cannot believe how warm it is. The wind is off of me right now. I'm getting hot in my jacket. It's nice. We'll see how it holds up tonight though when the temps drop. It's supposed to drop another 10 degrees, I think. So we'll see. What we're doing today is we're making slumgullion. This is an old recipe from like when sailors would sail the seas. So what the recipe is it's some animal fat or bacon and some hardtack, water, and a can of corned beef. So you just throw it all in there and you cook it up, and it's supposedly really good. It sounds really nasty, so we're gonna see how this goes. In this kit, I have hardtack, and if you've never heard of hardtack before, this is a homemade survival ration you can make. These are biscuits, or like crackers. They're super hard. They're made of flour, salt, and water. That's it, and they're baked until they are really tough and hard. You can't bite into one of these and have your teeth survive it. You're gonna break your teeth. So what you gotta do is you gotta crack it up and put it in water and boil it and rehydrate it. These biscuits can last up to 100 years if you keep moisture away from them. So if you're gonna make a survival cache like this and bury it out in the woods, then definitely make some hardtack, or just make some hardtack because it's fun. So what is slumgullion? It kind of translates into seriously nasty stew, essentially. And basically when people were reduced to just eating hardtack, bacon, and corned beef, they would just make this nasty stew out of this. So the earliest reference to this I could find is in 1902, Jack London, the writer, referred to slumgullion in Daughter of Snow, which is one of his books. So anyway, I was just really intrigued by this sailor's dish, and I want to try it myself. So it's almost done, and we'll see if we throw up from eating it or not. This looks so vile. I don't know. Ooh, hot. It's really hot. That was pretty good. The hardtack is very chewy. It might need to rehydrate a little bit more. It's pretty darn good. Yeah, okay. That's cool. Yeah, slumgullion. Wanna try?
Sure. Yeah. That's not bad. It's really not that bad. Oh, that's hard. Hardtack.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
What sounds awesome and fun about a detachable tank? All right, so it's pretty warm in here. It's like over 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and I can feel the heat like pouring off of this back wall from the fire. So I have the fire over there. It's coming through this plastic. For sure, if you're gonna stay outside without a sleeping bag, this type of shelter is like the only way you could do it, because the thermal gain you're getting from the trapped heat from the fire in here is just amazing. So this thing just gets an A+ in my opinion. There is nearly a 20-degree difference from outside to inside right now inside the shelter. It is over 40 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's like 20 or less outside. Absolutely amazing how well this is working. Super comfortable with this like mattress that I made, but you know what, you got to know your limits, and so I have a backup plan in place in case I have to bail on this in the middle of the night, and that is this backpacking shelter right across the way there. So Joe, my editor, is actually staying in that backpacking shelter tonight. I have my 15-degree down sleeping bag laid out in there, ready to go in case I need to use it. So when you're doing this stuff, do it safely. Have a plan. Don't just go out in the woods and expect something to work. You're practicing these survival techniques, you're having fun, but don't be stupid. These super shelters are truly amazing if you have the right fire to keep them cooking away. But if you run out of firewood, they go from a sauna to an ice box really fast. Okay, my fire has died. I don't have enough wood to make it through the rest of the night. It's about 19 degrees here inside the shelter. It's colder outside the shelter. I don't think it's safe for me to stay in here the rest of the night. So I'm gonna boogie over there to the backpacking shelter where I have my sleeping bag ready and waiting for me. My plan B. That's the only responsible thing to do at this point. Well, it was cold last night. Must have gotten down to at least maybe 12, maybe even single digits last night. Gonna get the fire going and make some bread. It was definitely the right call to bail on that shelter out there. Without a fire, I'd have had a really awful night. I probably would have survived it, but very, very miserable. So at least in here I got a little bit of sleep, even though it was absolutely frigid. Are you ready for anything? Probably. Challenges like this are a great way to test your skills, but a great camper knows their limits. I could have survived the night with nothing but what was in that coffee can, because I've done it before. But when the winds shifted, I ran out of firewood, I was ready with a plan B, one where I was much less miserable. In the end, my plan B kept me warm, well fed, safe, and happy. And what's better than that? Okay, we got some oatmeal. And isn't that the whole point of doing this? I hope you found that useful, or at least entertaining. We'll see you later.